Welcome to the Immigrant Entrepreneur Podcast. My name is Alina Warwick, and today I bring on someone who is absolutely humble, wise, and an incredible man. His journey to entrepreneurship was not an easy one. His journey led him to live in his office for a period of time, eating Popeye's chicken every single day, selling shoes on eBay to selling TVs to then having a multi-million-dollar company. This guy is only 30 years old. His tenacity is something out of this world. And the cool thing about this guy is that he's transforming his employees' lives. He's giving back in so many ways, and his employees get to volunteer their time on Fridays. Isn't that amazing? I think this guy is where a true entrepreneur builds communities, transforms lives, and leaves a legacy. But guys, just wait until you hear his entire journey and discover how this guy operates without any fear. So let's get right to it. So thank you so much for coming onto my podcast where I outline the amazing stories of immigrant entrepreneurs. I noticed that a lot of immigrants come to America with absolutely nothing to their name. They don't come with angel investors. They don't come with investments at all and start absolutely amazing businesses. In fact, 1 out of 4 entrepreneurs these days are immigrants. So today I am extremely honored and excited to introduce you to an amazing immigrant entrepreneur, and his name is Agie Sihotang. So Agie, are you ready to roll?
It's my pleasure to be here, and absolutely I am.
Awesome. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born, and when did you come to the States?
Sure. I was born in Jakarta, Indonesia, and I came to the States when I was 15 years of age, and that was in 2005. So I just turned 30 not too long ago. I'm not telling you that I'm turning 31 in about a month.
Okay. So, happy early birthday.
Well, I don't like to celebrate that, but I am about to be 31, and I came here almost 16 years ago, 16 years ago. And I came here to stay with my sister. I was finishing up junior year of high school, and then I went to university here, University of Phoenix in Southern California. I got my bachelor's degree, and I was 6 classes away from getting my master's, but I quit.
Did you come with your family, with your parents, or did you come by yourself and you were staying with your sister?
I was staying with my sister. So my sister had been living here with her family for some years, and my parents were back in Indonesia. I have a brother who lived and still lives in Texas area.
So you got on a plane at the age of, you said 15?
Yep.
By yourself from Indonesia?
Well, my mom technically dropped me off, but
okay.
Yes, it was a very big change for myself.
Wow, amazing. So tell me a little bit about your family. Were you raised in an entrepreneurial family? Did your parents give you any wise advice regarding entrepreneurial successes?
Yes, actually, that's interesting that you asked that, because a lot of people think that you were born with it, but I truly believe that it's an ability that you probably absorb from your surroundings, right? So for me, my father had his own company, and he would take me to his appointments after school or on the weekends. I just remember one time my dad told me, sometimes a deal is like a spoonful of food that you put in your mouth, but until you swallow that entire food, you can actually choke and spit it back out, meaning that a deal that is so close, you think you're going to close it, can just fall apart.
Wow.
I'll never forget that because
Wow.
obviously throughout the years I've experienced that over and over and over. But the persistence that my dad showed, as well as my mom doing some side gigs, really allowed me to embrace this entrepreneurial journey, if you call it.
Nice, nice. And what did your mom have a business too, or she was helping your dad?
No, no, no. She wasn't helping my dad, but she would be hustling, if you call it. She would help different organizations getting licenses from the cities, and she would get a commission as a broker to do different things. So she didn't really have a job or a company. However, she was doing a lot of side gigs growing up, and I'll never forget that.
Awesome, awesome. Now, before you tell our listeners about Indo Trading USA Company, tell me about the path you took. Were there any other business ventures that you tried before Indo Trading USA was born?
So, Alina, do you want me to tell you the short story that I tell everybody and all the other interviews I've had, or do you want the juiciest story that nobody's ever heard online?
Yes, I'm getting goosebumps. I
Uh,
want the juicy story.
so, when I came here, well, it began in Indonesia. I was selling cell phones, and you've probably known that I was borrowing my mom's money and my parents' money to buy cell phones from our families and friends, and then I would post them in the newspaper. So after work at 4 or 5 p.m., people would come and ask for Mr. Agie, and here's a 11-year-old, 12-year-old coming down the stairs selling used cell phones. So that's I was used to making my own money back in Indonesia. When I came over here, that was impossible. So I learned and taught myself how to sell on eBay. Then I would go to Ross, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, grab a $30 shoes or a $50 Calvin Klein shoes and would sell them on eBay for $80, $90. And that's how I would make my side money in high school. Then, as I graduated high school, I was going to school, I was working a little bit with my sister, and then I actually had a, a business selling TVs. A gentleman was helping me out by allowing me to use his place, and I would have to rent it. The business would have to rent it, but I didn't have money to pay rent for my own home living situation. So I would live in that office. I lived there for 9 months. I was buff back then because I would go to the gym twice a day to shower. There was no shower in that office, and I was selling TVs out of there. Then at the same
Wait,
time,
wait, hold on. So how did you go from selling stuff from on eBay to let me just try this other thing and see how it goes, selling TVs?
I was networking with people and an
Mhm.
opportunity came up. Somebody asked, do you want to do this or do you know how to do this? It started with, do you want to uh, can you find me a TV? And I said, sure. And I would go on Craigslist and different places, find a supplier for TV, and I would flip the TVs, buying it for $500, selling for $600, that kind of stuff. And then it
Wow.
led to me having my own TV place. Then I was having to make a choice whether to leave my master's program or not, and I did. And then, by the way, when I was living in the office, I was eating Popeye's chicken
Oh
every
my
day
gosh.
because on Tuesdays it was $1 for 2 pieces, right? So I would buy $10 and I would eat it for the entire week. And right now I can't even eat Popeyes because
I
it's that
bet.
emotional craziness that comes out when I eat it. And anyway, so I was doing that, and then from there, I met a gentleman at a gas station. I just networked with him. He asked me if I could create a website for his company selling clothing, and I said sure. I didn't know how to build a website. He gave me $1,600. I found somebody to do it for seven, eight, $900. I don't remember. I kept the rest of the money, and then he said, "Oh, can you sell on eBay?" At the time, I knew how to sell on eBay. And then, do you know how to sell on Amazon? Yes. Do you know how to do this? Sure, I'll figure it out. So I always said yes to opportunities and I just went out there and figured it out. At the same time, I was also consulting for a company that sells koi fish and create ponds and pools. And I was doing some sales consultation for them to make a little bit of a living while I'm pioneering this new gig that I was doing. So there was a lot of things that I was doing. I didn't sleep much, as you can tell with my schedule. But then it got to the point where I finally chose the wholesale life. I was able to do it, and I started my company in 2000. Indo Trading started in 2014, end of 2014, I believe, but we didn't really start until 2015, January 2015.
And how did you decide that you're going to now transition to a wholesale business?
Well, I've always said yes to everything and just figure it out later, number one. And number two, I know I can't just work a single job or a single niche because I would get bored. And number three, I want to have the freedom to be able to buy and sell whatever I want. I've always had a passion of buying and selling. I think it's an incredible journey to be able to buy something low and sell it a little higher, but make everybody happy. In the meantime, you negotiate different deals with different people. A good negotiator is someone who makes everybody happy, walking away grateful for the deal that was created. So that's what I did. I wanted to start my own thing. At the time, I had been newly married, and my wife and I just started to do this thing. One of my best friends was with me from the beginning. He's here with me till now, but we just decided it with a lot of the connections that I had built over the years, but with zero capital, zero bank loans, zero angel investor, none of that. We just started from the bottom.
Wow, amazing, amazing. So tell me a little bit about Indo Trading USA and what do you guys do?
Well, we are a wholesale company. By trade, I'm a salesperson. By chance, I'm a wholesaler. By reputation, I'm a trash man for $1 million or $1 billion companies. So what I do as as a company, Indo Trading is a wholesaler, so we're a liquidator as well. When companies go out of business, when companies have overstock items, when companies need space in their warehouse, or they're moving on to the new SKUs, or last year model needs to be liquidated, we go in, we buy everything, we bring them to our warehouse, and we sell them to resellers. So my customers mostly sell online on Amazon, eBay, Jet.com, and other platforms. My suppliers are big companies that need to get rid of their merchandise, and that could be toys, electronics. And right now, the past 7 months, 6, 7 months, we've been doing a lot of PPE, mask, hand sanitizer, sanitizing wipes, gowns, that kind of stuff, because we supply hospitals, government agencies, and different organizations who truly need them.
So you're the guy behind 2-day Prime shipping.
Well, we are the guy behind the third-party sellers on Amazon. That's who we are. So we supply them, and it's an amazing feeling too, to be able to find products right for the Amazon sellers to be able to sell and make profit and make a living and sustain their businesses. But right now, it's even a greater feeling because you're able to provide the PPE needed, the gloves, the mask. That whole industry is shaken by the pandemic, obviously, but it feels good to be able to supply those things to those who truly need them.
And it's amazing how you can just shift your gear and shift your focus from selling one thing to the next during this pandemic. And you're extremely blessed to have that opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to stop selling what I used to sell and focus on PPE gear, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
I had no idea that there was this massive story behind Amazon for some reason, because I'm in Sacramento and we have a warehouse. Amazon is here. And for some reason, I just thought people would just ship their goods to that warehouse, whatever they want to sell. And then it's placed online and it's, 2-day Prime shipping at my doorstep in 2 days.
We love
But
it, don't
there's
we?
this massive story behind it. And that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so tell me about some of the things that prepared you for Indo trading. Did you take any classes? Did you read a bunch of books? Did you go to any events? How did you prepare yourself to be a business owner where you're at right now?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things, Alina. As far as courses, I never really took any courses. I mean, I took a salsa dance course, but I don't think that applied to this. And then the university and the college education that I had, I mean, did it really help? I'm sure it helped at some point, right? But I don't think it was necessary for me to do all of that. And I did it because I thought I needed a plan B just in case my entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial journey is not happening. I can have a plan B and have a degree to apply for a full-time job somewhere, which I never really intended to do it. By the way, I went on 100 interviews in 1 year in different companies without having zero intention of accepting the job. I went for the interviews
Wow.
to, number one, network, and number two, to be able to find out what exactly are the strengths that people are looking for and the weaknesses of a company that I can bring value to be able to be a consultant in the future. Out of 100, only two companies didn't call me back, and I think they didn't appreciate the jokes that I made during the interview, but all the other 98 called me and offered me a job. So that was definitely a thing that I did consciously to prepare myself for whatever's coming along. I didn't really read books, the Bible, and a book called A Child Called It, that had nothing to do with business, were the only books that I've ever completed in my lifetime. By then, at the time, I was going to networking events all the time. And, I think what prepared me the most is to be able to learn from people. Growing up, I've always been taught to learn from people around me. It doesn't matter if he's a CEO, doesn't matter if he's a janitor, it doesn't matter what they are. They have experienced life and they have things in their life that I can learn from, whether it would be hard skills or soft skills. I think the ability to utilize the soft skills that we have, such as being flexible, being able to communicate, being able to problem solve, being able to negotiate, those things have brought so much value in not only Indo trading, but in my journey so far.
That's amazing. And I really want to hone in the fact that, listen, the immigrants that are listening, you really don't need all those licenses, those degrees. And I'm not saying that they're all bad, but if you really want to do something, pursue that passion and don't wait for a degree. Don't wait to get those licenses, right?
Alina, I'm going to add to that.
Go
I
ahead.
went to I went to college, and as every Asian or immigrant parents would want, right? It's not because of what I wanted, but if you're listening to this and you have pressure from your family, I hope my parents never listen to this, but if you got pressure from your family to go to college, I get it. I get it. I was it. I was born and raised in Indonesia. My parents were the same as your parents, nothing different. But sometimes you might have to do certain things to ease your parents' feelings, but at the same time, you still gotta be able to know and pursue whatever you think and have decided would work for you and your family. I don't think it was a good conversation. It was an easy conversation when I quit my master's degree. For what? For selling TVs, living in an office selling TVs. My family wanted me to go back to Indonesia. My family members wanted me to live with them, but I refused to do all of that because if I did, I wouldn't be able to prove to myself that I could make it on my own. Now that could be a stubbornness. It could be a fortunate thing that I was able to have this outcome. But at the end of the day, if I didn't try it, I wouldn't have been satisfied. It worked out, and I'm glad it's working out. But at least you've tried it. You are making decisions for yourself based on what you know, what you want for you, your family, and your future.
So, so powerful. Okay, so let's talk about your accomplishments. I know a lot of people don't like to, and they're super, super humble, and I think you're extremely humble. But tell us some of the accomplishments that you've had, maybe recently, or something that you want to outline.
So when Indo Trading first started, I told my wife and my best friend to be prepared because we're going to hit $1 million. First month sales was $6,000. Second month was 12,000. Third month was $18,000. And then a company was going out of business. We bought them. We sold their inventory to our customers by September 30th. We hit $1 million in sales. That was certainly a milestone. And then in 2017, we had 15, 17 employees, I believe. We were doing millions of dollars in products selling to people who sell on Amazon. Then in 2018, we fell because we put all of our eggs in one basket. But then in 2020, this year, March and April alone, we did more sales than we did in 2019 altogether. We've been able to assist so many organizations, for profit and nonprofit organizations, with millions of units and also in dollars in PPE. So those are monetary accomplishments, but I will tell you the accomplishments that actually mean something for me. Number one, we've been able to not furlough anybody from our company. We've been able to even give them bonuses in this pandemic. We have been able to help different families to have a single income in their family and have the other members of the family enjoy their lives without having to worry about work because a sole income was enough to provide for their families. I've been able to help my own families, my extended families in Indonesia. We've been able to travel anytime, anywhere we wanted to. Well, not now for obvious reasons, but prior to pandemic, we can go anywhere in the world anytime we wanted to, and being able to work remotely or just enjoy ourselves. And most importantly, it allows my family and I to be able to dedicate a lot of our time for volunteer work. So those are the greatest accomplishments. The money, come on. I started with nothing. If I don't have anything tomorrow, it is what it is. It's been a great run. But the memories and the accomplishments that I've been able to accomplish that are outside of the financial rewards of this journey are priceless. And I'm glad to be able to be experiencing it at such a young age.
So powerful. I'm getting goosebumps. That's amazing. Okay, so let's shift our gears towards failures. How do you overcome failures?
Well, that's a tough one for a lot of people to admit, right? But in the Indonesian proverb, there's a saying. I'll say it in Indonesian first. It says, "Sepandai-pandai tupai melompat, akhirnya jatuh juga," which means no matter how smart a squirrel jumps, it will eventually fall. Even the wisest and most
Mm,
competent man makes mistakes, and no matter how hard someone does something, people will know eventually that you're imperfect. So there has been a lot of mistakes throughout my journey, obviously. But one particular one that I mentioned earlier in 2017, as a company, we felt like we were on top of the world, right? We were taking 2 hour breaks to play basketball just because our sales were so good and everything was automated. But we put all of our eggs in one basket with this one customer, this one company who is basically taking over about 95% of our sales and profit, went out of business abruptly.
wow.
And that was hard. They owed us $180,000 at the time. But that's not even the biggest deal. The biggest deal was that we kind of ignored all of our clients in the past 2 years because we were focusing so much on this company. At the time, it didn't look that bad of a decision, but looking back, that was a crazy decision that I made as a company, as a business owner, because I shouldn't have done that. And I thought I knew a lot about business, but I learned to never do that again. So in 2018, it was tough for months and months and months. I didn't take any payroll, but we never, ever skipped or were late on paying our employees, all of them.
Wow.
Matter of fact, for some of them, they didn't even have any much work to do, but we kept them around because that was just how we felt about our company. Then we, throughout the years, have been able to help quite a bit of people make quite a bit of money. And I was cashing in on the favors. I was asking favors, and I wasn't too shy or too prideful to ask for help. I called every single one of them and I said, "Hey, look, I know you don't need this product. Hey, I know you don't want this, but I need the money to be able to pay for my payroll. Not even for me. I'm not asking you for a loan. I'm not asking you for money. I'm simply asking you to buy products that you probably don't need so I can pay my guys." And guess what? Every single person did it. They
Wow.
knew I wasn't just begging for money. I was asking them to help me out by buying products that they don't necessarily want or need.
Mm.
And we were able to survive 2018 with that. We did use our a lot of our savings, and but it's okay. It's okay. That was part of being a business owner. And 2019, we climbed back up again. We were doing well, and 2020 pandemic hit. I got a call saying that one of the local sheriff departments were waiting on a mask, and the mask never left China. They didn't have the hundreds of thousands of masks that they ordered, and a lot of these city workers didn't have masks on. Do you
Hmm.
have any, Agie? I called around. I was able to get some through my network, and ever since then, hospitals, VA hospitals, different cities, different counties have contacted us, private organizations, nonprofit organizations, restaurants. Everybody's calling us and buying PPE now. So, those accomplishments were great, but you learn so much from the failures. You
Hmm.
have to, and I think that's where your integrity as a business owner is tested, right? You Everybody wants you when you have money, but when you don't have money, can you use everyone around you to help you? So creating business relationships and networking are so important to me that I was able to use them, utilize them, and ask for favors to go through these failures. But now I learned my lesson. I'm never putting all my baskets and all my eggs in one basket again. But at the same time, I'm increasing the quality and the quantity of our network to be able to, hey, who knows? Maybe we have to face a similar situation in the future.
Right, right. And I feel that the failures that we do get in our lives, in our businesses, we come out of them so much more powerful.
Mhm.
And thank you so much for sharing that. That's amazing. I know you've mentioned volunteering. Tell me a little bit about your volunteering, and is donating something part of your business values? And just share a little bit about your volunteering experiences.
Sure, sure. So the donating part is absolutely a part of my company value and my value as a person, but I won't mention any numbers or anything like that simply because it's donation. Nobody else
Sure,
should know, right?
sure. Yes, yes.
But as far as volunteering time, we volunteer. Matter of fact, everybody in my company volunteers their time for teaching the Bible. So we do that all the time, and that's the reason why my company and my office is only open Monday through Thursday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we typically use those days to volunteer our time. I love doing it. Around this time, it's a little bit challenging because we have to do it virtually. But since the pandemic started, we've been able to volunteer our time with providing and distributing food to those who are in need. Matter of fact, part of my warehouse has tons of non-perishable foods. So just in case we need to donate more, to give more, We have them here. We also store them for certain organizations so they can have access to it without having to pay for storage. So we do volunteer our time. It's truly a priority in our lives, but we, even though I like doing what I do secularly for money, that's just a vehicle for me to be able to enjoy the life that I want to have for my family and I.
That's amazing. I didn't know that you close on Fridays and then
Yep.
your company has all the employees go out and just volunteer. Do they get to pick what company or what nonprofit they get to help?
Yeah, let's put it this way. They're getting paid salary as if they're working Monday through Friday.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so what are some things you would advise the next aspiring immigrant that wants to start their own business listening to you right now?
Start. Start now. Just do something. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't try to figure out the perfect thing. Nobody has a perfect company. We been in business for 10 years. Indo Trading's been around for 5 years, almost 6 years now, but it's still not perfect. So there's nothing that should prevent you from starting now. Start picking up something, selling it, and then tell everybody around you that you're doing it. Ask for their help. Ask everyone what their experiences are in life. So maybe you can utilize their connections. They're more than happy to help you. See, one thing about networking, it's easier for us to help somebody who we know than to help a stranger, right? So how do we get known by people? Get to know them. Once you get to know people on a certain level, you can ask for favors, you can ask for advice, you can ask for different things. But unless you start and you put a genuine personal interest in them as a human being, that's going to be challenging. Granted, a lot of people in business right now just don't have that kind of interaction anymore. If it works for them, good for them. It doesn't work for me. I'd like to get to know people who I'm doing business with, but the key is just to start now. When there is an opportunity, take it, figure it out. With the PPE thing, we never sold a single PPE in our lives before, Alina. And when this whole thing came up, I had the mentality I might be the newest kid on the block, but I'm certainly not going to be the dumbest one in the block, right? So
Mm.
I stayed up days and nights just reading, watching videos, and listening to different people talk about different PPEs. I mean, the mask alone, there's the there's the three ply level one, the non medical level two, level three, N95, K95, and the N99, there's the FFP2. What are the
Wow.
differences? The certifications.
Wow.
I didn't know any of that. And that's just for masks, right? How do you read a test report? Nobody teaches you that. But if you sell masks and people ask you questions, you want to know enough to be able to carry a conversation and to be able to convince them that you have the right products. Until you do your homework behind the scenes, when people are not looking, when people are not watching, put aside your Netflix, put aside your YouTube and your TikTok and your Instagram. Just learn, study, teach yourself. Then when you go in the next morning, you go to a meeting in front of a CFO of a hospital with all the head nurses and head doctors, and they ask you what kind of mask you have, you can confidently talk because you know what you're talking about. So that's what my advice would be. Start now and do your homework, learn it before you go out there. That way you can be so competent and confident in whatever you're presenting, whether it's a consulting gig, whether it's a product, whatever that is. Just make sure you know enough. You don't have to be the most experienced person in the room, but you certainly have to be the most knowledgeable one in the room.
Amazing. Amazing. That's so powerful. Okay, so we're going to wrap up with these short, quick questions. What time do you normally start your day?
6, 6:30, 7, but 6.
Okay. How many employees do you have?
13.
How often do you watch TV in a week?
Once.
What, once a week?
Once a week, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know the answer to that. Sometimes
Okay.
weeks go by, I don't watch it.
Yeah. And then how many hours of work do you normally put in a week? And I'm sure it varies.
If I have to put hours, it would be 50.
Awesome. That is it. Augie, thank you. Thank you so much for coming onto this podcast. You are a true inspiration to all the immigrants listening. You've got that hustle, that passion, that street smart that everyone needs to have. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your life and your experiences. And I hope to connect with you sometime soon.
Alina, it's been a pleasure of mine, but it's my turn to ask you one question. Are you ready?
Yes. Yes.
You ready? What is
Yes.
the number one thing that anyone ever told you that you will never, ever forget in business?
I would have to say that a failure is not a failure until you give up.
I like that. So, what I'm going to tell you, don't give up. You're doing a good thing for everybody sharing this message, sharing the inspirations from so many people to a lot of people. I hope you get as many listeners as possible. I'm certainly going to help
Aw,
you promote your podcast, and thank you for inviting me to be on here.
you're so awesome. Thank you, Augie. Hope you have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.